Hey Matt, welcome back. I want to start out today showing you a chord progression that I haven't heard in over a decade. You and I were coming out of we were just finished with a performance at the Dead Ant Tavern, and Dev picked up my guitar and started playing along, and I listened to what he was playing, and it sounded really nice, really pleasant. I didn't know he played, and it's nothing like the kind of music that I had played before. So here's what it is. How are they gonna? Yeah, like this. Ready? It's just two chords, but they were different. Today I'm going to tell you what those chords are, why they sound good together, and how we can use that technique to build more complicated chord progressions. That's the interesting part. I also want to do something that's boring as fuck, but it's crucial. It's something we haven't done. It's something basic that you really need to talk to other musicians. All right? Let's start out with chord progressions. Okay. Here's the trick that we're going to employ to try and expand our chord progressions. Here's what we did for the D major chords. And for D major chords, I said, what happens if you take the 1, the 3, and the 5, and then the 2, the 4, and the 6, and then the 3, the 5, and the 7? What do you get? Well, you get major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Okay? But what happens if you don't stop at the 5th note in the chord? What happens if you also add the 7th? So then we would start out with, in D major, we would go 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7. For the second chord, we would go the 2, the 4, the 6, and the 1. Then for the 3 chord, we'd go the 3, the 5, the 7, and the 2. All right? What happens there? Well, for D, you get the D, the F sharp, the A, that's a D major, but with the 7. Not the flat 7, but with the real 7. And so here you would get D major 7. What happens on the E? You'd get E, G, B. That's an E minor with a D. That's going to be in the key of E, that is the flat 7. So that is going to be E minor 7. E minor 7. What happens with the F sharp minor? The 3 chord, that's going to be F sharp, A, C sharp, and E. That's going to be F minor with the minor 7. That's going to also be a minor 7. F minor 7. What about the G chord? G, B, D, and F sharp. In the key of G, that is the major 7. So this 4 chord is going to be G major 7. What's the 5 chord? It's going to be A, C sharp, E, and G. In the key of A, that would be the flat 7, not the major 7, but the flat 7. So this is going to be A dominant 7, or A7. What about the B minor, that 6 chord? 6, it's going to be the B, the D, the F sharp. Yeah, that's right. It's B, D, F sharp, and A. That's a flat 7. It's just going to be B minor 7. What about this? That diminished chord. C sharp diminished. Okay. Start at the C sharp. We got C sharp, E, G, and B. I wonder if there is something called a diminished 7th. There is. This is not it. Instead, we have a diminished chord with a flat 7 That is not the diminished seventh. That is something we're going to call C sharp, minor 7, flat 5. Okay? Why is this not the diminished seventh? Tap the sign. This is not the diminished seventh. You can also call this C sharp half diminished. Kind of a mouthful, but you will hear musicians call that C sharp half diminished. But you can also hear them call it C sharp minor 7 flat 5. You know, come to think of it, they're both mouthfuls. I believe that the symbol for half diminished is a circle with a line through it, and it's the direction of the line depends on whether it's half diminished or full diminished. I don't even know that stuff. I'm just going to gloss over that, but we could look it up sometime if you want. The thing that I'm trying to say is, when you have chord progressions that go from like 1, 4, 5, and 6, you can expand those chords and stay in the diatonic scale by using seventh chords. All right, let's expand on what Dev was doing in his chord progression. Here it is again. First things should be clear. Is it clear what the key is? I'm only doing 2 chords, so what key are we in? Is it the first chord? To me, I feel like the first chord feels comfortable. It's sort of setting me in there. I feel like it's in the key of this chord. And I feel like going to this chord is on a journey. It's outside, and so that's not the key. Are you wrong to say that it's in the key of this chord? I think you are. I feel like this is at home. Even though we spend just as much time in this chord, this is home. Okay, so it's in the key of this chord. What is this chord? This is a G major 7th. It's like a G7, but that F gets promoted to an F sharp. Okay? That's the 1 chord. This is in the key of G, and we are feeling at home in the 1 major 7. What is this chord? This chord is a C major 7. It's like a C chord, except I took my forefinger off, and that C, that high C, got flattened to a B natural. That's B natural. You hear that? So it sounds really pleasant when you go from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, and you're using the major 7ths. 1 major 7, 4 major 7. 1 major 7, 4 major 7. What would the other chords, other diatonic chords, sound like in that chord progression? We've already done the 1 chord is the G major 7, the 4 chord is the C major 7. What's the 5 chord? Well, the 5 chord in G major is D. And in the 5 position, we would use the dominant 7, or D7. Not bad. What's the 6th chord? The 6th chord in G major would be E minor, and the 7th chord would be E minor 7th. What would that sound like? What's the 2 chord? The 2 chord would be A minor 7. So how about going to the 5 and then go into the 2 chord? How would that sound like? It would go like this. That's pretty good. What's the 3 chord? The 3 chord would be B minor 7. How about straight to from the G major 7 to the B minor 7? All right? So I wanted to impress upon you that adding sevenths to those chords can be pleasant. It can expand right away, mathematically, all of your chord options. Now you'll notice that when I went from G to the 5 chord, I chose D major, not D7, because I feel like the D7 is what you use at the end. And when I want to go on a journey and start in the 5 chord, I like to use the major without the 7. So I did. I apologize to no one. All right. That was exciting. Let's do something boring. Okay, so far we have talked about note names. We've talked about notes. We've talked about chords. We've talked about chord progressions. We've talked about scales. But one thing that I've been completely neglecting is I haven't talked about rhythms. Rhythms. First off, you're going to see at the beginning of any written piece of music, you're going to see a time signature. So what does it look like? Well, you're going to see like the this little guy on the staff, and you're going to see 2 numbers here. I'm going to write here 4 and then a line 4. Okay? 2 numbers, a numerator and a denominator, if you will. I'm not sure if anybody ever calls them a numerator and denominator, but they look like a fraction to me. They kind of behave a little bit like a fraction, but musicians have crazy ways to count things. The top note, the top number, that top 4 is, that denotes beats per measure. The bottom note, the bottom number is going to be what gets the beat. Okay, so when we're talking 4/4 time, you are going to count in a musician by going 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? If there are 4 beats per measure, you're going to feel a repetition after 4 beats. And there's going to be 4 beats before you repeat something. So a chord progression that you hit 4 downstrokes, you strum 4 times, and then you change to a new chord. That's a pretty good clue that you're in 4/4 time. But a bigger clue is going to be, you're going to say 1, 2, ready, go, right? That's got 4 beats in it. What are some other time signatures? There's also 3/4. 3/4 time is also called a waltz. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay? If you hear that pattern of a 1, 2, 3, where you're bouncing along, bong, t, t, bong, t, t, that's going to be 3/4 time. All right? What else? 3/4 time is pretty related to 6/8 time. 6/8 time is going to have 6 beats to the measure. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it can be confusing. Is it going to be 3/4 time or 6/8 time? You could hear a piece of music and think, gosh, this could be a 1 2 3 1 2 3, or it could be a 1 2 3 4 5 6, and that could be a little confusing. But are subtle differences. I think of in 6/8 time. I think of there are no cats in America. There are no cats in America. That has a beat that doesn't work in 3/4 time. It could be translated, but it really doesn't beat. 1 2 3 1 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6. You hear that? So that's using a pattern that really only fits into 6 beats per measure. Okay. There are lots of other time signatures. These are the most common ones. There's, I guess, 2/4 is also common. And when I was doing Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, that's pretty cool. It's got 12 beats per measure. That's in 12/8 time. Odd ones. There are some strange ones. Money by Pink Floyd. The verse is in 7/8. The jazz standard by, I forgot his name. Dang it. Take 5. That is in 5/4 time. Okay? So is 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. You hear that? Look up Take 5 on the on YouTube, and you'll get plenty of renditions, I think, of right. That's 5/4 time. Those are some strange ones. Okay, up until now, I've only talked about the top number, the number of beats per measure. But then it changed, right? It went from 4 to 8 here. What is that? Well, it's what note gets the beat. What are the notes? What are the choices? Well, you got this guy. That guy's a quarter note. Okay? This guy is a half note. This guy is a whole note. Okay? If you have a duration of 1, you see these. So in 4/4 time, if you're just going to do 4 quarter notes, you're going to be going like this. Okay? And that would be denoted inside of a measure. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're in 4/4 time, let's go to some other ones, because faster than quarter notes, you can also have an eighth note. Right? That's an eighth. I can do 2 eighth notes together. You'll also often see them with a bar across them, like this. Those are also eighth notes. 16th notes are like eighth notes, but it has 2 flags. So that's a 16th note. 2 16th notes together have 2 bars. There's also 32nd notes. So I'll write down 16ths here. 32nd notes are going to have 3 flags. All right, those are pretty fast, and also 3 flags in a bar across. Okay, now I'm going to do one more notation that you need to know about. There's 2 more. Rhythms can get pretty complicated. Okay, let's say you have a note that lasts for 3 beats. Here's how you're going to denote that. That's going to be a half note with a dot right after it. Okay? That's a dotted half note. And when you see a dot, you are adding half of the duration. So a half note has 2 beats. A dotted half note has 3, because we added half. The 2 beats, half of 2 beats is 1 beat, so that's 3 beats altogether. Let's make it more complicated. Let's make a dotted quarter note. A dotted quarter note is 1.5 beats. It's as if you had 3 eighth notes strung together. That's the duration of this guy. You can also have a dotted eighth note. That's like an eighth note and a half. That's like 3 16th notes put together. All right? Okay, that's as complicated as I want to get, because what I want to tell you is that I've seen children who can pick up on the subtleties of these really quickly. The kids in their piano class, they went to their piano class and they practiced this drill that really, really helped them a lot. Okay? So I'm going to show you a drill, and I'm going to show you how to do it first, and then we'll go ahead and run through it. Now this is all in 4/4 time. All right? And in 4/4 time, you'd see flashcards. The kids are shown flashcards, and they're told, okay, let's start. You know what? Let's start right here with the top one, the top flashcard. Those are just 3 quarter notes. So somebody's going to count you in. 1, 2, 3, go. And then you have to clap these and also say something. When you see a quarter note, you say the word ton. So this is going to be ton, ton, ton. Now what is this guy? This guy is a rest. The quarter note, so I should mention, in addition to notes, there's also rests. There is the Z with a C on the bottom, and that's a quarter rest. That's the exact same length of time as a quarter note, but this is resting. And then there's a half rest, which looks like a little hat on top. These are all rests. Okay, quarter rest, half rest, whole rest. Very subtle difference. It should be the same size. This one's underneath the line. Okay? All right. Back to the drill. When you see a quarter note, you say ton. When you see a rest, you say rest. You clap on the notes, okay? So for this, we're going to go 1, 2, ready, go, ton, 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 rest. Notice I didn't clap on the rest. You think of this as playing an instrument. You're going to clap, 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 rest. And to get the rhythms right, you're going to program your mind that when you see this note, you're going to think ton. And a ton has a duration of 1 beat. So this is going to be ton, 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 rest. Okay? Now, next flashcard. When you see this, you're going to go ton and clap. When you see these, you're going to go TT. When you see an eighth note, anytime you see an eighth note, you go T, right? So this one is going to be 1, 2, ready, go, ton, TT, ton, rest. Okay? The eighth note, there's 2 of them in the same time that it takes to fill 1 quarter note. So if you're going to do this rhythm, it's going to be ton, TT, ton, rest. All right? Once again, children are doing this. What's this one? This one's going to be T-T-T-T, ton, rest. All right? Let's do all 3 of these together. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Ton, 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 rest. Ton, T-T, ton, rest. T-T-T-T, ton, rest. All right? Kids would do these exact same flashcards every week. They would have a group piano lesson, and everybody would get together, sit on the floor. We're going to do rhythms. Ready? Go. Ton, 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 rest. Ton, T-T, ton, rest. T-T-T-T, ton, rest. You know what happens if a kid just isn't paying attention? Nothing. They're just not participating. They're going to do exactly the same one next week. They're going to see exactly the same flashcards. And after dozens of times, they get to program their mind to know that these are tons and these are TTs. All right? Now, let's do the other rhythms because I want to show you what this exercise sort of looks like all the way through. Are you ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Ton, 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 rest. Ton, ti, ti, ton, rest. Ti, 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 ton, rest. Half note, ton, rest. Ti, ton, rest. Okay. This one's a tough one, and I messed up. Also, I didn't clap on this one, but this one is a tough one. This one is ton, dot, ti, ton, rest. All right? So this one, you'd be introducing this flashcard in a more advanced week, but then you do it repetitively. So once again, this is ton, dot, ti, ton, rest. This one is a half note, dot, rest. Okay? That's just 1, 2, 3. So that one's pretty easy. And then you wind up back at ton, 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 rest. Let's try it all the way through. 1, 2, ready, go. Ton, 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 rest. Ton, ti, ti, ton, rest. Ti, 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 ton, rest. Half note, ton, rest. Tit, ton, rest. Ton, dot, tit, ton, rest. Ton, sorry. Half note, dot, rest. Ton, rest. Okay, that's my introduction to rhythms. I didn't think it would take that long, and it took a long time. There's a lot of knowledge that you pick up when you just know a little bit about rhythms and you go and read some music. You'll see that if something is in 6/8 time, then the beat is not on the quarter note. The beat is on the eighth note, and you have to count it that way. Other things. I mean, yeah. But what I really wanted to impress upon you is I've seen these kids now. They've been taking piano lessons for years, and they will walk up to a sheet of music and know what the rhythm is just by reading the notes. Maybe they're working toward, obviously playing the music right off the bat, right? Seeing the music, playing it right off. They can also see the music and say, oh, I think it's going to sound like this, and predict what the notes are going to be. But the rhythms are incredibly important. That if you come up to a sheet of music and the rhythm says this, then you know what to play. A lot of times as musicians, when we learn by ear, we can hear the music, but we don't know what it looks like on paper. And sometimes there's some really interesting things going on there. Okay? All right. Rhythms are important for when you want to talk to other musicians. We didn't get to a lot. I didn't tell you what a swing beat is, and that's important. We do a lot with swing beats in our compositions. You know what? I'll probably clue you in on that next time. All right, this has been enough. Hope you're having a good time with this. Talk to you later. Bye.